Good afternoon, my name is Justin Eng.jnk7.004. We'll be talking about the United States Army sappers. To start off real quick, you see right here, it's kind of like the embodiment of what a sapper is. First, you're a sapper, and then to become an elite sapper, there's also the Ranger tab. This is an airborne jump master, infantryman, and of course, the castle right here represents an engineer. Start off the Corps of Engineers. The first engineers officers were appointed in June 16, 1775. They all engineers played a very pertinent role in all major wars, and pretty much the Corps of Engineers did a lot throughout history, whether it be building stuff and pretty much pushing forward in all U.S. conflicts. If any of you speak French or anything, you should see right here, essayons. Literally translates to try, but in the terms for engineers, it means let us try. If you didn't know, actually, the French actually do a lot of big parts when it comes to the United States Army. We learn drill and ceremony, and actually sappers kind of come from their military, which we'll see in like the next slide. Alright, like I said, French. So Napoleon I created the first sappers. It was in the French Army. Sappers are considered the elite combat engineers. Sapping, as you see by definition, is a term used in the siege operations. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, it's under here. Kind of Google it. I don't feel like getting too complicated with military jumbo terms. So what is a combat engineer? So a combat engineer is a dual role. They're infantrymen and engineers. A quote that I actually heard not too long ago, about a year or so ago: an engineer can grunt, but a grunt can't engineer. If you know what a grunt is just like a basic infantry soldier, like a private in the front lines. So becoming like a combat engineer, you have to do 14 weeks in one station training at Fort Leonard Wood. Some of the skills are placed right over here. Basic demo and everything. I'll get into that more later on. And here's the overview. If you want to learn more about it, go army.com. Here's the Sapper's Creed. You'll see it's very important. Everywhere you go in the Army, you have your Soldier's Creed, your NCO Creed, your Officer's Creed. It kind of just embodies what your job and duties are.
Rutgers' entire computer system was down for the past couple days. It's a denial of service attack. I don't know.
Yeah, let's get straight.
Just as
yeah, no, that's right. Alright, I guess I have to go to YouTube for this one because it didn't embody it. Just to give you a glimpse into what like sapper school is like and pretty much the training. I'll give you the glimpse of surviving the cut after this condition.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's great.
It's the bottom of your mouth.
This one?
Yeah.
Take down whatever stands between combat forces and their target, by whatever means necessary.
Never just an engineer, a combat engineer. The infantry guys need to do something. We figure out how to deal with it.
But to become a sapper, soldiers must endure 4 weeks of intense physical punishment, science instruction, and special tactics training.
There's a lot of tough moving pieces, and they can easily go downhill.
Sapper school moves fast and furiously. This is a brutal course. Brutal.
It's a competition! In case you didn't hear about that!
If you do the wrong thing, they're gonna make you pay for it.
Stand up, Sapper.
I can't do it.
Get off my tower, Sapper. Get off my tower, Sapper.
Keep up, focus, or blow your chances. Nearly 1/3 won't make it. Only the very best survive the cut.
So that's just kind of your quick glimpse. A couple things you saw on there. You saw them at the rappel tower, and then you saw demolition and all that stuff. So like I said, some of the things they do is demo, they do clearing. But one of the cool things they do is rappelling, mountaineering. For that specific rappel you saw, it's a no-hands rappel, actually reverse. What happens is the Sapper Creed I showed you before, they say the Sapper's Creed while they're perfectly L-shaped to the wall, and then just let go. And then they just drop down, descend. It's kind of a confidence course, and then your belay will hold you down. So it's not just being physically fit, it does have some mental confidence. There's actually a soldier in that specific one. He almost refused to do it. He was a specialist, but eventually he did pass this course. So they said it's 4 weeks, 28 days, not 28 weeks, 4 weeks, 28 days, 2 phases. So the first phase is general combat and engineering knowledge. Phase 2 is the advanced. You can go through this whole entire course and still fail. You have to have 50% go on all your training, and you actually have to score a minimum of 700 out of 1,000 points. What happens is at the end, when you finish the whole entire course, you actually will get split up into different groups. They'll tell you whether you pass or you fail, and you won't actually know until that day. There's one captain I actually met. He was lucky enough, he actually knew about a day or 2 before that he passed, because they use him as an example. So what do they do? Build field fortifications, road paving, breaching, demo, bridge erection, route clearance, etc. So what does that all mean? So road paving is the exact same thing. They're engineers, they're also infantrymen. So breaching, this is a specific example of breaching. So that means pretty much getting through whatever they need to get through. Whether it be walls, barbed wire, and all that stuff. Demo, same thing. Bridge erection. So when there's a creek or whatever and you need to get vehicles over, combat engineers will actually come up with the infantrymen, fight, and then build just quick bridges so they get across and then continue the fight. Where do they train? Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. If any of you have ever known anyone in the military, you'll also call it Fort Boss in the Woods. Sappers get to train the worst weather pretty much ever. No matter what time of the year it is, they're having some shitty weather. In the winter, low 20s, and the average temperature is 32 degrees. They're just in the woods doing what they got to do. During the spring, they have to deal with tornadoes. In the summer, it's extreme heat. It's as simple as that. So people that are eligible for this course are actually not just Army soldiers, there's also Marines. The picture back here, you can see the female Marine. She's actually the first female Marine to ever go into Sapper course. She actually won the Sapper Spirit Award, which means she actually scored the highest out of all her fellow classmates. So kudos to her. So male and female can go, active, reserve, component, all can go. The attrition rate is 60% of Sappers pass the course, but only 52% actually have enough points to where the Sapper tab. Like I said, they're just split at the end where you figure out whether you made it or not. And then, are there any questions?
Are you going to do Sapper training?
It's not up to me in the sense. If I can, I will, but it depends. Like, you have to go through engineering. You have to be a